Hello students, today I have come up with the next part of periodicity in properties. As we know that in the last video I have started with the periodic properties of atomic radii and ionic radii. So today I will start with the other periodic properties. So among the first periodic properties which I will start today is atomic volume. So what is atomic volume? Atomic volume is represented as gram atomic mass divided by density in gram per centimeter cube. So this is the atomic volume. So what is atomic volume? Atomic volume is the gram atomic mass divided by the density in gram per centimeter cube. So this plot you are seeing, this is the plot of atomic volume versus atomic mass. So this was first, the word atomic volume was first noticed by Lothar Meyer, which I was saying for the historical background, that Lothar Meyer was the first German scientist who have noticed that the physical and the chemical properties of the elements are the periodic functions of their atomic volume. So he brought into existence the term atomic volume, and this plot which you are seeing, this is a shorter form of Lothar Meyer periodic table. So Lothar Meyer periodic table was basically this graph. So this is the shorter version of his graph. In your study material, I will attach the actual Lothar Meyer graph. Okay, so these are the parts which is actually required for you to know. Just see that starting from lithium across a period, the atomic volume decreases. It decreases, it comes to a minimum, and then after that it again increases. Means see, this is the atomic volume of lithium, this is for beryllium, this is for boron, this is for carbon. Again it will increase gradually, means after carbon this is for nitrogen, this is for oxygen, and this will be for fluorine. Since it is shorter, means the place is shorter, it will become clumsy, so I have not drawn the other elements there. Okay, so after this, see, it will come to the next group 1 element, which is sodium, which again has the highest atomic volume of the period. So after sodium, see, the atomic volume of magnesium is less, after that aluminium, after that silicon, then phosphorus, then sulfur. Means it is minimum at silicon, then again minimum at aluminium, then again it increases to silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, and again to potassium, the first element of the next period. Again to calcium, then again we will have the entire D block elements here in the lower portion. Excuse me, we will have the entire D block elements here. Then again the P block elements ending at bromine, again starting at rubidium. So just see into this plot. This plot has broad minima. These are known as minima, the lowest points. This plot has broad minima and sharp maxima. These are known as maxima or peaks. See, the peaks are sharp. So from here it is evident that the group 1 elements have the highest atomic volume in a particular period. See, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, they are group 1 elements. The group 1 elements for a particular period has the highest atomic volume. Then while coming back, we are getting the electropositive elements. Means this slope, the right side of this peak, the right side of this peak, this slope, we are getting the electropositive elements here. Then in maximum times the metalloids are at the lowest positions, and then again it increases for the electronegative elements. And see, chlorine, here will be fluorine, chlorine, bromine, all of them are at the left side of this peak. For highest atomic volume will be for the group 1 elements. The atomic volume will decrease. Again it will increase for the most electronegative elements, and here will be fluorine, and here will be the first element of the next period. So you can see that along a period, means on moving from left to right across a period, the atomic volume first decreases, comes to a minima, and then again increases gradually until it comes to the first element of the next period, which has the highest position. Okay, and down the group you can see very well, down the group the atomic volume increases. For lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, you can understand very well that they are having the highest atomic volume, and as we are moving from lithium to sodium, the atomic volume increases. From sodium to potassium it increases, from potassium to rubidium it increases, from rubidium to cesium it increases. So it increases as we move down the group. Okay, see here also beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium. So as we move from down the group, atomic volume increases only. Okay, so this is the variation regarding atomic volume. Now I will come to the next property, which is the metallic and non-metallic character. Metallic and non-metallic character. When we are talking about metallic character, we are talking about electropositive character. When we are talking about metallic character, we are talking about electropositive character. What does electropositive character means? Means the elements which will lose electrons in order to become stable, or the elements which will lose electrons for becoming stable to form positively charged ions called cations. So this is electropositive nature. And what is non-metallic? Non-metallic is electronegative nature. So metallic character is electropositive and non-metallic character is electronegative. Okay, now on moving from left to right across a period, let's start from lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. Okay, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. Okay, now what about the valence electrons? Valence electron means the electrons present in the outermost shell. Lithium has 1 valence electron, beryllium has 2 valence electron, boron has 3 valence electron, carbon has 4 valence electron, nitrogen has 5 valence electron, oxygen has 6 and fluorine has 7. We all know that the elements want to gain the stable outermost electronic configuration of 8 electrons. That is, they fulfill the octet rule. Okay, so lithium has one outermost electron. So if lithium loses this electron, then it will become lithium 1 plus, and it is very easy for lithium to lose one of its electrons. For beryllium, if it loses 2 of its electrons, it will become beryllium 2 plus, and it becomes very easy for beryllium to remove these 2 electrons. But just look at oxygen. Oxygen has 6 outermost electrons. So, will it be easier for oxygen to lose these 6 electrons or to gain 2 electrons to attain the octet rule? So, oxygen won't lose these 6 electrons. It will gain 2 electrons to become O2 minus. Fluorine has 7 outermost electrons. What will it do? Will it lose all the 7 electrons to attain octet? It won't. It will just gain 1 electron to form F minus. So, when we are moving from left to right across a period, we notice that the number of valence electrons continuously increases. And when the number of valence electrons continuously increases, the electropositive character decreases across a period and electronegative character increases across a period. Because they are accepting electrons, that's why they are becoming electronegative. And the left side elements, they are losing electrons, so they are becoming electropositive. Now, let me come to that why will they gain and why will they lose. Not only because of they are having 6 electrons or 7 electrons. There is a factor, you all know, that the nuclear charge. As we move from left to right across a period, the nuclear charge increases. What is nuclear charge? Nuclear charge means the attraction or the attractive force of the nucleus on the outer electrons. So as we move from left to right across a period, the nuclear charge increases, which means that it is holding the outermost electrons tightly. Since nucleus is holding the outermost electrons tightly, so the electrons cannot be lost easily. So, for the left side elements which have a low nuclear charge, their outermost electrons are not as tightly held as the right side elements which are having higher nuclear charge. So, they will easily lose electron and the right side elements will have to gain electron because they cannot lose electron because of their high nuclear charge. So, across a period, the atomic radii decreases, the electropositive character decreases and electronegative character increases just because of the increase in the nuclear charge. Okay, so across a period, the metallic character decreases and non-metallic character increases across a period. Okay, now what happens down the group? What happens down the group? Lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium. Down the group also nuclear charge increases. But I have told you earlier also, as we are moving down the group, there is successive addition of new shells, and this successive addition of the effect of the successive addition of new shells is much greater than the effect of the nuclear charge. So down the group atomic radii increases, which I have told you in the last video. In this video I will say that with the successive addition of new shells, as the new shell is added, on moving from lithium to sodium, one new shell is added. From sodium to potassium, another new shell is added. As new shell is added, the new shell, the electrons on the new shell are not as tightly held by the nucleus as it was held before. So the electrons in the outermost shell, that is the new shell, do not experience that high nuclear charge. As a result, they can be easily lost. So on moving down the group, the electropositive character increases, which means that the metallic character increases, and we all know that when metallic character increases, the non-metallic character will decrease. So across a period, the metallic character decreases, non-metallic character increases, and down a group, the metallic character increases and non-metallic character decreases. Okay. So this is the metallic and non-metallic character of the elements. Now I'll come to the oxides. The metallic and non-metallic character depending on the nature of the oxides. Taking the elements of period 3. Sodium oxide, magnesium oxide, aluminium oxide, okay, then I'll consider, since it is oxide, then I'll consider sulfur, means silicon, phosphorus and sulfur and chlorine. Like I'll consider silicon dioxide, I will consider phosphorus pentoxide, sulfur trioxide and Cl2O7. Okay, look at the oxides. It is observed that sodium oxide is strongly basic. Magnesium oxide is basic. Aluminium oxide is amphoteric. Silicon oxide is slightly acidic. Slightly acidic, or you can say weakly acidic. After that, phosphorus pentoxide is acidic. Sulfur trioxide is strongly acidic, and Cl2O7 is very strongly acidic. So the acidic character, increases from left to right. So the electropositive elements form basic oxides, and the electronegative elements will form the acidic oxides. So the oxides character changes from basic to acidic across a period, and down the group from acidic to basic. From here only we can understand. See, the characters of the, means we all know that electropositive elements will form basic oxides and electronegative elements will form acidic oxides. So we have said that across a period the metallic character increases. Means the electropositive character decreases, that is the metallic character decreases. So it is moving from basic to acidic oxide, and we all know that down the group the metallic character or the electropositive character increases. So the oxides will increase from acidic to basic down the group. Okay, so this is about metallic and non-metallic character. After this, I'll come to oxidizing and reducing character. See, this is also related to this metallic and non-metallic character. How is it related? Just as I have told that across a period the nuclear charge increases, holding the outermost electron strongly. So across a period electron donation tendency decreases, and when electron donation or giving up of electrons decreases, it means that the oxidizing character increases. And what we have told, that down the group the effect of successive addition of new shells is outweighs the effect of the nuclear charge. So down the group the outermost electrons are not as strongly held by the nucleus as for the upper elements. So down the group the giving up of electron becomes easier. So down the group electron donation increases. When electron donation increases means the elements can donate electrons. That means the reducing or instead of writing character, reducing power. Means these elements can oxidize other elements easily and these elements can reduce other elements easily. Okay, so this is about oxidizing and reducing character. Okay, across the period and down the group. Now I'll come to the easiest part, which is the valency. You all know about this valency very well. So I have told you, okay, valency is the combining capacity of an atom, of an element. So valency is the combining capacity, means how many electrons are combining of the two different elements. Okay, so the valency are of three types, like oxygen based, hydrogen based and chlorine based. If we are talking about oxygen based valency, then we will talk about the oxides. Sodium oxide, magnesium oxide, aluminium oxide, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur. Okay, so here you can understand that for here in case of sodium the valency is 1, for magnesium it is 2, aluminium 3, silicon 4, phosphorus 5, sulfur 6 and chlorine it is 7. But when we talk about oxygen and hydrogen and chlorine based, then for hydrogen based valency we will talk about the hydrides. So when we are talking about oxides, we will say that across a period the valency increases. When we talk about hydrides, or okay, I'll just write this and I'll tell you one thing, one interesting factor. Okay, now magnesium and aluminium, they do not form hydrides. They won't form hydrides. I will come to this part when I'll teach you, I'll come to this part later on, that why they do not form hydrides. Sodium, hydride, silicon, this is known as phosphine, this is known H2S, means hydrogen sulfide, and this is HCl. Excuse me. Now look at the valency. This is hydrogen based. Look at the valency. Sodium is 1, silicon is 4, phosphorus is 3, sulfur is 2, HCl is 1. So for hydrogen based valency, the valency across a period will first increase and then again decrease. Okay? The same case happens for chlorides also. For chlorides also, see, NaCl, MgCl2, AlCl3, SiCl4, PCl3, and here for S, we will not consider that. Just look at this. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. Again this is 3. And since it is the group of chlorine only, we won't show here chlorine. Okay. So generally this happens that across a period for chloride based and for chlorine and for hydrogen based valency, the valency across a period, the valency will first increase and then decrease. This is for hydrogen and chlorine based. But for oxygen based, across a period it will increase. And down a group, we all know that all the elements down a group will have the same valency. Means group 1 elements all will have a valency of 1. Group 2 elements, because all group 1 elements have one outermost electron, so all of them will have the same valency. Group 2 elements, all of them have two outermost electrons, so all of them will have the same valency. So down the group, valency remains same. Okay. So this is up till this in this video. From the next video I'll start with ionization potential and electron gain enthalpy and electronegativity. By that we will complete the chapter. Okay, thank you.